What is good, guys? It is your host, Mr. Ghost, with the Real Talk Podcast. Before we dive into today's episode, please subscribe, hit the bell notification, hit that like button, and always remember to be respectful down in the comments down below. Also, guys, you want to support us here at the Real Talk Podcast, you can simply become a channel member. Great perks there. You get videos early. You're going to get one-on-one Q&As with me. Also, if you want to support the channel even further, go check out the merch. We're still working on some of the merch. Got a lot of great things coming for the channel. And also, guys, simply commenting down below, sharing the videos, all that's greatly appreciated. But in today's episode, we're going to be discussing the Afghan problem once again, because it is important to discuss this. Okay? Under the Biden administration, we end up pretty much importing nearly 100,000 to 190,000 Afghan nationals. A lot of those individuals fought alongside U.S. troops. And we've been fed the narrative that these individuals were all vetted, they're cleared to live in the U.S. Well, a U.S. Marine veteran that served and was there during the withdrawal, he's blown the whistle and he's destroyed that entire narrative. And in this episode, we're going to break it down exactly what he's talking about and this issue, how it is going to get worse before it gets better. But let's dive into it, guys.
An Afghan national was arrested in Texas just a day before the National Guard shooting in Washington, D.C. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said the suspect, also reportedly let in under the Biden administration, posted a video of himself on TikTok indicating he was building a bomb with an intended target of the Fort Worth area. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt posting, quote, "The magnitude of the national security crisis Joe Biden unleashed on our country over the span of 4 years cannot be overstated. President Trump has directed his entire team to continue rooting out this evil within our borders." Our next guest is a U.S. Marine veteran who helped lead rescue missions during the Afghanistan withdrawal. Chad Robichaux joins us now. Thank you so much for your service. But also thank you for joining us this morning on this incredibly important story. You know, you did several deployments to Afghanistan. You fought alongside a lot of these Afghanis, and I think you probably supported helping some of them get out of Afghanistan during that disastrous withdrawal. What were the problems you recognized at the time with letting 80,000 Afghani nationals into the United States?
Yeah, I mean, I said this on Fox News at that time. I said this in my book that I wrote 4 years ago when the NGOs were doing the evacuations. We were evacuating people out of Afghanistan, not bringing people to America. In fact, no NGO, no individual has the ability and authority to bring someone to America. The only people that does is the United States government. And during the time of evacuations, we were watching the U.S. military, forced by Joe Biden. I have to give credit. Our service members did an amazing job there, but right. Forced by Biden's White House to put unvetted, undocumented Afghans on planes and fly them straight to the United States and let them loose in the interior of the country. 80 to 100,000 of them. And when that happened, I knew immediately, I mean, it can't go well. Eventually, one of them has to be a bad guy and is going to do an attack on the United States. And this would happen. I mean, that is one scenario. We also have the border that was open every single day. And our country is just, it has been just overrun by we don't know who. Right. And this should be no surprise to anyone.
Well, one of the points, important points that I think that you have made is the fact that, so some of these guys were vetted, but they were vetted to become contract workers for the CIA, not vetted to come and live in suburban America.
Yeah, look, I worked in the special operations community for 14 years. When I was in Afghanistan, I was a DoD contractor on a JSOC task force, and we had CIA trained Afghans working with us. We had JSOC trained Afghans working with us. We vetted them to work for us as combatants. And there's a big difference when the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Right. They're great to work in. And it doesn't mean they wouldn't eventually be a good American, but the criteria of them working as a combatant doesn't qualify them to integrate in our society. There's a separate process for that, and that's the State Department's responsibility to do that. That's why when we got people like my interpreter Aziz out of Afghanistan, he had to go to UAE and wait 9 months for the State Department to do their due diligence process to make sure they were safe to come to America. And Aziz is my friend; he's here.
Yeah, you raise a really important point, because even if they were good, loyal friends and soldiers there, the cultural differences are extraordinary. And you have two problems. One is the fact that maybe they have, prior ideations about America. But the other thing is just the cultural shock of coming here. We don't know, maybe coming here and the duress of being here for years, feeling out of place, the cultural shock could also turn somebody against the United States.
Well, I mean, look, not a lot of people are saying this, and it can't be overlooked. If you're an Afghan and you gave 10 years of your life to fight alongside the Americans, and now the rug was pulled underneath you, we abandoned our allies there. We left the most strategic place in the globe, Afghanistan, between Iraq, Iran, Russia, and China, for the Taliban to take over their women, their children. So maybe, and I'm certainly not giving an excuse for an Afghan that's here in America, but maybe they're here. They feel so betrayed by what the Biden administration did. They're back here driving an Uber because that's the only job they could get. Meanwhile, their mom and their sister's back getting raped every day by the Taliban. Right. I mean, there's the Biden administration set up a very good scenario to be hated by these people.
Exactly.
And it's certainly an excuse, but it's a reality that we have to recognize.
Yeah, without a doubt. It is not any excuse whatsoever, but it does remind us all that these were all stupid mistakes that could have been foreseen and avoided if they had listened to people like you. So we appreciate that. Chad Robichaux, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you again for your service.
So with this U.S. Marine veteran coming out and pretty much blowing the whistle on the whole withdrawal process out of Afghanistan, which I think everybody can agree, at least if you're of a normal mindset, that it was disastrous from the get-go, cost the life of 13 American troops. The numbers are varying. I'm hearing 70,000. I'm hearing 80,000. One number told me 180 to 190,000. Whatever it is, okay? When you are evacuating a war zone and you're taking in tens of thousands of refugees, a lot of bad seeds, bad actors are going to seep in. Okay? Now, he goes out and tells you that his very own interpreter took 9 months to be vetted and released into the U.S. So it would have took a lot longer for 100,000 of these individuals. But he made it very clear nobody was being vetted. They were just throwing everybody on. No documentation, no nothing, just throwing them on by the order of the President of the United States of America. Now, I do question, did Biden really authorize it, though? That's the question that I do ask. Because Biden's been very incompetent for the most of his presidency. So we need to investigate who was behind the scenes pretty much pushing this, okay? Because we already got the auto pen, right? That's already proven very, very damaging to his presidency. Was President Biden just a puppet? And there was a puppet master? These are questions that has to be answered. Because we have allowed in 100,000, let's just leave it at that number because that's the recent number that's coming out with, 100,000 Afghan nationals were flooded into our streets. Now, am I saying all 100,000 are terrorist bad people? No. There's a lot of them that are good, hardworking people. Quite a few of them are actually Christians. But there is a problem when it comes to Islam. And I'm not trying to make this into a debate about Islam within this episode. We can spend episodes upon episodes debating that religion. But we know their whole narrative is the destruction of Israel and the West. They want Christianity gone. They want Judaism gone. And if a Muslim tells you, nope, no, we don't, we want to coexist, they're lying to you, okay? Because you go read the Quran yourself. I think a lot of people have to start doing their own research before they open their mouths. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how the Democrats can sit here and be defensive of this and claim that these people are vetted. It's a different process when you're vetting somebody to fight alongside you. because you both have the common enemy. I almost butchered that one. So when you got the same enemy that you're trying to go after, of course you're going to work together. It's a common goal. But don't think that your enemy of your enemy is your friend, because that individual might have a knife behind his back, and the second you turn your back, he'll stab you in the back. This is proven to happen time and time again. When will enough American blood being shed on our soil is enough? When do we say enough with just migrating as many people as possible from the third world without truly vetting if they truly want a better life? How many people come into this country with the disguise of wanting to be an American, but the second they get here, they want to change our way of life? Sharia law. They want to, they will use civil rights as a disguise. So when we had this guy on last Tuesday being caught doing this, threatened to blow up a city, Fort Worth of all places, we have a very good, strong military base down there. That Wednesday, we dealt with an individual that opened fired on 2 of our National Guardsmen. Andrew's still fighting for his life. God rest the soul of Sarah. She is with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Then last October, we dealt with an individual plotting an ISIS-style attack on our elections. See, I'm starting to notice that the Democratic Party is not the party of the American people. Now, that doesn't mean every Democrat is a bad person. Okay? I used to be a Democrat. But when you open your eyes to the truth of the Democratic Party and the narrative they're trying to spin, you can no longer stomach it. So I ask my viewers, and I ask people that do tune into these podcasts, to do your own research. Don't be just don't be like a blind faith in believing in what the media is telling you. Talk to the eyewitnesses. So when it comes to this topic, when it comes to the Afghan national issue, because there is an Afghan issue in the U.S., okay? This is not me trying to fearmonger you. This is not me trying to rage bait you or clickbait you. This is facts. We have a lot of good people in this country that came from Afghanistan that wants a better life for their children, want a better life for them and their family. But then you got a lot that did come over at first. They were pretty happy about it because they fought alongside us. But the second they catch wind what's going on at home, they can be radicalized. Or you have the other narrative where they were double agents. They snuck in under the disguise of being our friend. In reality, that knife is hidden behind their back. And we now turned our back, and now we're being stabbed repeatedly. See, the death of the United States will not come from abroad. The death of the United States will not come from land invasion, air invasion. It will come from within. You will have to subvert our laws. You would have to find a way to use our laws against us to have your law become law of the land. They're trying that with Sharia law. Be a cold day in hell if I allow that to happen. I will push my Congress members to vote no, because me as a Christian, I believe in love and compassion for all, but I'm not going to force you to believe in what I believe in. I'm not going to shove it down your throat. I will preach to you. I will try to give you my perspective while listening to yours. I'm not coming to people with like a blind direction. I studied. I looked into it. I understand what the topics I'm diving into. And the one thing that's very clear is that I do love this country. I want this country to be successful under any president, whether if it was Biden, Obama, Clinton, Bush, Reagan. I go on, including Trump. I want this country to be successful. But I don't want to see our way of life to be subverted because they don't want to assimilate with us. Like, buddy, you came here. You came to our land, our home. And you're trying to tell us how to change our home? Just to make it more like the home that you fled? That makes no sense, my friend. At all. Why would you flee a horrible country to come to this land to make this land horrible, it's because they're not here to assimilate. They're here to overthrow us. They are here to bring down the Western civilization and stop the truth in the spread of Christianity and Judaism. You got to open your eyes. You got to start paying attention to your surroundings. Start paying attention to what's really been happening and hold your elected officials accountable. There's blood on the hands of Biden and every Democratic and Republican that supported this withdrawal. Understand, it took 6,000 Hamas fighters to do on October 7th. Okay? That was their 9/11. I said in the last episode, will it take the United States of America to have a day like that? Imagine if we lost 40, 50, 60, even 80,000 Americans on a day like that. Would you still support the open borders? Will you still support influxing our country with third world natives that don't want to assimilate with us? When will enough American bloodshed be enough? When will it be enough of Americans being left behind and immigrants and illegal immigrants, both legal and illegal is what I meant to say? When will it be enough? Why do they got to come first? I'm all for taking care of people, feeding them, clothing them, housing them, as long as we take care of our people first. I have no problem helping other countries find their way. But we got to take care of those at home at first. This Afghan issue is only going to get worse. It should be investigated. Trump should renege any visa if a person is deemed to be a threat to the United States of America. That means that 885 that have been flagged, they got to go. The 9 terrorists that are just being watched, they got to go. You won't see Democrats come out and support Trump on that. You won't see Democrats come out and be supportive of closed borders. You won't see Democrats being anti-crime. The narrative is this. If you're a foreigner, you hate this country, as long as you vote Democrat, we will welcome you with open arms. This is why we need men in charge. This is why we need individuals in charge that are going to put the American people above everything else and ensure the safety of every man, woman, and child in this country. Do we really need another 9/11 to reunite the flame of patriotism in this country? Now, not every liberal is a bad person, but if you allow the ideology of evil that's within your brand to take root, okay, and overtake your narrative, then you got a problem. Same thing on the right side of the aisle. If you got these extreme far-right individuals trying to take over the party, snuff them out. We should come to a common ground. It's okay to disagree with one another, but we got to come to a common ground of agreement for the betterment of the people. Mark my words, we keep electing individuals that are not of sound mind. We start electing people that don't care about our way of life. We will end up being the third world country. Open your eyes, America. Pay attention to what's happening. God bless this Marine, though, guys. God bless him. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you look at his point, it does hit hard. Just imagine if you fought for this country. It gave a decade of your life. Then you just watch the U.S. pull out. Same way we did with Vietnam. Then you're leaving behind family into the hands of the enemy. That's going to build a lot of resentment towards the United States. And that will radicalize somebody a lot quicker. We already could agree that the withdrawal was botched. The vetting was rushed because it wasn't thoroughly vetted for those that look to be settled in the U.S. And our border has been wide open. But under Trump, we've watched our border close down, mass deportations. He's fixing the broken policies of the previous administration. And I'm hoping one day we could discuss that, of why with every presidency, they're fixing somebody else's problems. Why can't we continue to build what's good for America? So the threat was predictable, okay? No doubt about it. The threat was preventable, most importantly, but everybody ignored it. Okay? Everybody just ignored it. Swept it under the rug. Hopefully nothing bad will come out of it. We brought in 100,000 Afghan nationals. Let's just hope 100% are good, influential people that will assimilate into our society. Whether you dislike Trump or if you dislike Biden, I'm not here to tell you how to vote. But I am here to tell you that our national security does not care who you vote for. Because we need to protect the homeland from all enemies, foreign and domestic. So when we allow tens of thousands of unvetted individuals into this country, when our border becomes a revolving door and our leaders prioritize optics over safety, this is the result. We got people in the country that hates us. There was a CIA whistleblower that came out and said, she clearly stated on a podcast interview, there are sleeper cells, not hundreds, but thousands of sleeper cells in the U.S. waiting to be activated. I'm hoping I'm out alive when that day happens. I'm hoping it never happens. I put my faith in the Lord that it doesn't. But I'll be still singing his praise to my very last breath. See, if people listen, they do their job, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in today. I want to hear from you guys, the audience. Comment down below your take on this whole entire situation. How do you feel about it? Do you think Biden was really the one that signed off on this withdrawal? Or is this a deeper rooted problem that needs to be looked into further? I yield the floor. God bless you guys. And I'm hoping to see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification, hit that like button. I'll catch you all in the next.